Hello and welcome to the second episode here of the Universal CSS template. And what you're staring at here is a blank white screen. And the reason for that being is because we haven't done anything yet. If I turn that off, you can see that I'm starting here with an empty index.php file. And that is exactly where we left off last time. So that is where we're going to start here. You should have an index.php, a header.php, a footer.php, and a style.css. Mine is called style tutorial because for my own sake to know which one is which. And if I use this as an example later on, then I can show you exactly where I started from and how we can add certain things into it. And after this episode, I'm going to end up making a GitHub link that I will put in the description of all the videos so that you'll be able to see, compare like from episode to episode, what if something's not working for you, why it's not working. And hopefully if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be able to get to them. Starting off blank here, index.php. And we're going to include some things here because index is our first page. It's our first page of the website. No matter what, it always goes to index first. Now, because of that, this is going to be like our main page more or less. So this is where we're going to do everything from for this tutorial. Because I'm not talking about a lot about PHP and I'm not going to be talking a lot about HTML. I'm going to assume that you already kind of know what you're doing on that front more or less. I will still go over things as they come up, like this little snippet of PHP that's going to go on every main page file that we create. So this is a PHP tag, the question mark, or the, I don't know what kind of symbol that is. Less than, greater than? I always get them confused. I think it's a less than. Let's go with less than. So it's going to be a less than symbol, question mark, PHP, and then you'll write your PHP code goes here. And then to close it, you're going to do another question mark and a greater than bracket. And our PHP code here is include header.php, include once. Now what that's going to do is include the header.php file that we've made. So currently now there should be nothing in it, so it's not going to include anything. It's still just going to be a blank white page. But we're going to use that header and we're going to use the footer. So include underscore once, and in quotations, single quotations, footer.php. Now, this doesn't have to just be the header and the footer. You can do it for multiple different things. Like if you wrote, say like a newsletter section or so if you made like a newsletter section that you wanted to use, you could make it in PHP and then put it into this thing here. So just as I'm showing here, PHP tag, and let's say it's a newsletter, so include once, and then name of whatever you'd named it, newsletter letter.php, if it's a newsletter, respectively, and then close up your tag, and then that'll include your newsletter.php file on this page. And in between the header and the footer, just as it's been put here. Another important thing about PHP tags where you have like HTML and it's not just pure PHP, you always want to make sure that your PHP brackets are right after the PHP that you write. Because PHP can get a little bit iffy when you start leaving space in between there. It gets kind of funky. But that's all right. And we're going to take this newsletter.php out because we don't care about that for now. And we are going to start looking at header.php and footer.php. All right, so header.php is completely blank. But what we're going to put up here is the information for the header of our website. And it's going to be the same for every website. And this is the HTML for it. So we start out with doc type, HTML. This defines that what we are looking at here is HTML. So HTML, the language is English. The direction is left to right, LTR, left to right. And then we start our head tag, and we want to say that we're using the meta char set UTF-8. That defines what characters we're using. In most cases, it's going to be UTF-8. The next thing is going to be the title of the website. And so I just have my name here. You can have it be whatever you want. We're going to name this one. We're going to call it CSS template tutorial. Okay, so now if we save that and we open it back up, I don't know if this is actually on there, and it is not. As you can see, there's still nothing on the page, but at the very top where your tab is, it says CSS template tutorial for me, or whatever else you put in between the title tags. Now what's next here is a link to a style sheet, and that style sheet is our styletutorial.css. That is the style sheet that we're going to be using and modifying and creating the template in. And you're seeing here now that there's another style sheet that we're linking to. Now, this is linking to a style sheet that is not in the folder. It's linking to one that's on the web. So you can link to any style sheet from the web that you want to use. This one is Font Awesome. I'll put the link to this below, but this is Font Awesome. They basically have just a bunch of new they basically have a bunch of icons that you can use, and I will use from time to time. There's a ton of them here. You could literally just for hours just scroll through, just click on icons and just scroll through all of them. If there's ever an icon that you want to use, you know, I use it a lot for like social media, like Facebook, Twitter, those kinds of little things. Those kinds of icons, they're perfect for it, and that's what I use them for mainly. That last style sheet there, that defines the end of what we're going to be looking at for the head. And so you'll notice that there's nothing in there that really prints anything to the screen, and we don't really need to do that in the head. All of what we're making should be in the body tag. And so we start the body tag here, and you'll notice that we don't really end it. Same with this div with the ID of container. And the reason for that being is because that is going to end when we get to the footer. The header and the footer are going to be on every page of our website, and we want the same top and the same bottom. We want the top with the navigation links and everything. We want the bottom saying the same thing, probably with some more navigation links at the bottom of that as well. A little bit other miscellaneous information. But this basically kind of sets us up to create a blank page that we can use and put anything in the middle, in between, for whatever page we're trying to display. So we're starting our body tag here, and we're starting this div tag with the ID of container. Now, this container is going to hold everything in our website, from the top to the bottom, the header portion of things down to the footer portion of things. And with this div, we're able to easily kind of put everything together as to where it's supposed to go. We can set the max width for all the content within everything, because no matter what, it's going to be in the header, and it's going to be in the header, and it's going to be in the footer, and everything in between is going to be in the container. So that's the point of this div. So now we'll move on to the footer. It's going to kind of start where the header left off. So we have this div here, and we have this body tag. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to close that div, and we're going to start our div for the footer, kind of in the same way that here the container contains the entirety of the website. The footer contains the entirety of the footer. It's the same idea. I have another one here called footer text that probably like centers everything here. You can do whatever you want for your footer right now. I recommend that you at least put like, hey, footer is here, something like that. I keep it usually, you know, copyright Joseph Rayo to web design, and put the year. That's usually what I do with it. Something along those lines, something so that you know that there's like, that's where the footer is, at least. Maybe even make it a different color later on, if that helps. I'll do that. I'll do that. But you want to put some text in there so that you at least know where it is when we start doing some. And you want to put some text in there so you at least like kind of know where it is when we start doing some CSS work. And I'll color it at some point. And I'll end up coloring this one too so that you can see like where it is and how we could design that. Finally here, we close up our div for the footer text. We close up our div for the footer. And then we close our body tag. So everything on the website that has any text or any visualization at all starts with the body tag. Or starts with the body tag and ends at the body tag. And then after that, we close our HTML tags. So this HTML tag that we started at the very beginning, that's the last thing to get closed. So if we save that and we reload our website here, what's actually going to pop up is what we wrote in the footer. Now, that's because we have nothing else on the website. And it's over here slammed into the left because we haven't done any CSS to it whatsoever. And so with that, this being a CSS tutorial, we should get some CSS done, at least, in this tutorial. So we're going to move on over here to the style tutorial.css file. For me, for you, it might just be style.css. And this is where we are going to start. So blank file, starting from the blank file, the star tag includes everything. Everything on your entire website will use these star tags. And because of that, we want to set the margin and the padding to 0. We want to start from nothing. Everything should have no margin, no padding until we give it margin or padding later on. I'm sorry, guys. That was not supposed to be there. But what that was doing was when you hover over a link, it would display a different color. But we'll get into that later. I will talk about that, just not now. So body refers to the body tag. So everything that is in the body is affected by this. Everything in the body has a font family of sans serif and has a font size of 16 pixels by default. Everything by default. This is the default. Like these and these are the defaults that everything is going to use until you change them with CSS. So we'll start here with the footer at least so that we can like get this in the middle and like kind of looking somewhat like an actual website here. So with the footer, what I'm going to do is, because it's an ID and it's not a class, if it was a class, we'd go dot footer and then make our curly brackets and then type in whatever CSS we're going to do, maybe text align center, if I can spell it correctly. And what you'll see, if you have this dot footer, and you don't have to do this, I'm just doing this for explanation purposes, this dot footer text align center. So now when we save that and we reload our website, now that writing is in the middle. Now what I also want to do is say background color. So background dash color, and we are going to make it, so for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the background color green. So we're going to do, you can either do it by typing green. I believe that works. If we pop it up here and we do it, yep, that gives us green. But I don't work like that, and what I'm going to do is, you can also use hexadecimals, which is what I'm going to use to make it green. So hashtag pound key and then your hexadecimal code of the color that you're trying to create. And if I reload that, then it becomes actually a brighter shade of green. So this is where I'm going to end up leaving it for this time. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Absolutely. And I will start getting this up uploaded to GitHub for people to be able to make sure that they followed along correctly. If they're having any issues, they can go look through the code that I put on there and their code and see kind of where the discrepancies are. Yeah, if I can clarify anything that would better help anybody, absolutely let me know. Other than that, I know it's pretty slow for the first couple of episodes, but I want to make sure that I cover at least kind of the basics of everything that I'm doing. So I'm not really like leaving anybody behind who doesn't already know some of the stuff and I didn't point them to a right resource. So with that in mind, I will see you all in the next one, and we'll get some header stuff going. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.